Gilbert, obviously, there was some boxing over the weekend on Sunday. Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul. Obviously, the match ends up in decision. Two judges scored it for Tommy Fury. The other one scored it for Jake Paul. Just Gilbert, overall, what was your thought process through this fight?
Yeah, first off, Fernando, good to see you here on Combat Compas. It's been a minute to do a video together here, so but it's gonna heat up here in the combat sports world. So we had to do a video.
Yep.
Unfortunately for me, it had to be more Paul talk here. You know, either it's Jake or Logan, but in this instance, it's definitely Jake Paul. And yeah, what I was thinking about this fight, Fernando, I texted you guys the Compas on the Compas chat after the fourth round. I had seen enough. I know how this is gonna play out because I've watched many fights like this before because I'm a expert in boxing, and you could tell it's a difference in skills there. And neither guy has much pop there, so I wasn't expecting a knockout because like when there's like a Deontay Wilder, and you could tell he's not a skilled fighter. There's always that element of a knockout, and I didn't really feel it in this fight here. So after the fourth round, okay, I'm done here. Obviously, Tommy Fury picked up something from Tyson Fury and all the people he's working with in the Fury family because I don't know too much about his backstory. I know he was a reality TV star turned boxer, but maybe he got some training when he was younger. And it shows because it takes a long time to develop the fundamentals of boxing. A nice jab, a combination, cutting off the ring, footwork, anything you can think of that you have a steady base. And Tommy Fury had it. He's not a great fighter, but he had the skills. He could throw a nice combination. When Jake Paul's throwing a combination, it's more like eyes closed coming in and doing little windmills and stuff like that. And to Jake Paul's credit, I think he learned how to throw a jab. Finally, something there where it was he's a big, strong guy and just bring out the jab there, create some space. He did that, but he couldn't throw combinations without getting his head out the way. He was slow footed. So when you see that difference, okay, and no knockout power from either guy, it's going to go to the scorecards and we're going to get a decision. The only intrigue at the end, because I didn't watch it, Fernando, because I had enough here of this, whatever you want to call it, circus reality TV show. And we're into reality TV, right?
Yeah.
Perfect match, anybody? But when Jake Paul scored that knockdown, and I'm like, is it like, did he really get a knockdown? And to his credit, he had a nice little right hand there, and he fell. And I thought, okay, here we go. They're gonna give it to Jake Paul because no way Jake Paul did enough to get the win on the cards. But boxing judges got it right, and here we are. But Fernando, I don't know what you thought, but for me, it was just like Jake Paul. I appreciate the effort. You train hard, you work hard, but the boxing game, it shows that you need more than what 2 to 3 years to get to the top of the mountain here.
Yeah. No, I really do think that it was. I mean, Dan Dago, you know how he gets. He says no grab assery. There was a lot of grab assery in this fight. I just didn't. I just thought it could have been a lot better than what it was. But like you said, these guys are amateur fighters. I don't know. I don't know. I thought there might be a little bit more action, but at the same time, I mean, what can you expect when it's two guys that aren't really experienced fighters, like you said? Obviously, it was cool to see Tyson Fury and some of the guys be at ringside, but you watch it and you're like, okay, like you said, Tommy Fury, good combination. He did some really good stuff, but then you see some of this other stuff, and you're kind of like, I don't know, like I just wasn't buying it. I wasn't into it. Nothing really like it didn't call my name and say, "Oh wow, okay, yeah, this is good stuff." No, it's not nothing compared to what we watch. But here's actually some footage from that fight, and man, it's bad. So, folks, I'm warning you right now. It's a little crazy.
Let's do this. Okay.
There's a little there's a little a preview of what the fight was. No, but in
A
all
lot of
seriousness,
hugging.
a lot of hugging. But in all seriousness, I couldn't get into it, Gilbert. And it's like you said, I watched it because I watched it through, but I just thought it was too much, too crazy. And then the preview, Gilbert. They show Muhammad Ali. They show George Foreman. They show all these guys, and I'm like, dude, you guys are like literally like pissing on their grave. Or well, Muhammad Ali is the one that passed away, but you're pissing on their graves by putting these guys out there. Like they're nothing compared to what these guys are. Like no, like I guess that's what pissed me off at the beginning was the fact that they put promo highlighting Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Mike Tyson, and all these guys, but I couldn't get into it, and I just thought it was a bad I just thought it was a bad match. And when you guys are hugging, and then another thing, Gilbert, they kept on minusing points. These guys don't know how to punch, so they punch on top of the head, and they get points taken off. It's like, dude, come on, straights. Don't like I don't know for what reason they try and like hit on top of the head, but I have the same feeling as you. I didn't feel like this was anything more than just I don't know, two drunk uncles going at it at a at the bar at the family barbecue.
Yeah, well, hopefully, one thing that that might have came out of this, hopefully, is that you can now view these guys as like, nice little amateurs. It's a good, social media gathering and your circus, whatever you want to call it, but they're not the real championship fights. Like maybe Tommy Fury has the more potential to maybe eventually climb into like, I don't know, like a top 10 ranking. And I don't know if you ever get a title shot. I don't know if he'll get to that point, bro.
He won
Like
a title though.
whatever they had, I don't know what the WBC loves the belts there, and that's that organization in Mexico. So I don't know, maybe Mexico loves the Cintos there, but yeah, maybe Tyler Fury eventually becomes a nice contender, and he'll do well on co-main events or something, but. He's not. I don't think he's gonna be a championship fighter like his as a half brother, right? Tyson Fury. Like he
Uh,
won't ever
is
get
it
to that
half?
point. I think it is half brother. I might be wrong. Maybe like a nephew.
Oh no, no, yeah, yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
The dad is the father of both of them.
Okay.
The mom
Yeah.
is the one
Yeah.
that's different, I think.
Yeah, so like he obviously came from a background of a boxing family, and that paid off in this fight when you're fighting a guy who just learned how to fight. And but enough, no, Jake Paul won't ever be a championship fighter. He won't be a prize fighter. Well, I guess prize if you're winning, you're making a lot of money, but he won't be like a enough with the nonsense about him fighting Canelo or whatever. Like it's okay and cute to beat up on washed up MMA fighters, but now that he fought
Basketball players.
and basketball players like Nate Robinson. But now that you're fighting amateur boxers and you got beat, and then you weren't beat down, but it shows that you're not amateur level. And Tommy Fury, maybe some people consider him a real professional fighter. I guess you could say that, but he's not a top guy. So now we could stop it with the Jake Paul. As long as we all know. Like, by the way, Fran, did you know Floyd Mayweather had another exhibition this weekend?
I did.
Nobody cared.
I didn't
Uh,
watch it.
but now that we know it's not a real thing, let's just keep it that way.
No, and I feel where you're coming with that. Yeah, I just man, the crazy part is some people buy these pay-per-views and like watch them. Like I'm like, how can you guys pay money to watch Jake Paul fight? Like for what like I understood when people bought it to watch Mayweather versus Logan Paul. I got it. Like I understood because it's Floyd Mayweather. Excuse me, but here I'm like, how could you guys pay to watch this? Like I'm dumbfounded. I just don't get it. And but I bet you, Gilbert, hopefully you and I will be at WrestleMania 39. I bet you Jake Paul comes out at WrestleMania 39 and does something since his brother's gonna be fighting in it. But I don't know. And it's funny, there was a lot of celebrities there. Cristiano Ronaldo was there, Mike Tyson, like there was Devin Haney was there
Yeah.
too. So there was a lot of celebrity firepower there, but I just don't understand what the big deal is around this, and I just don't think that Jake Paul should be headlining any boxing cards. And it's like, and I mean, my grandpa used to watch boxing when I was younger, so I knew. I used to watch the Golden Boy or Oscar De La Hoya. I used to watch all those guys fight, and it's like it was an honor to be at the top of the card. Like you had to fight all your way through to it. And it's like with Jake Paul and even Logan when he fought, they would just stamp them right away at the top of the card. And it's like, dude, you have to earn this kind of stuff. So to me, it's precious to be put at the top of a boxing card. And for these guys to just be thrown in there by them, like for just because of self of who they are, it's kind of like, no, like I'm just over it. So I think this whole thing, hopefully Jake just starts something else, but I think he said he's here to stay. So but I just don't think he should be leading any boxing cards anymore. Maybe as an undercard.
Yeah, one thing I'll give him credit for, yeah, like one, I think he does train and he wants to get
Yeah,
better, but it's gonna take time and maybe he won't. I don't think he'll ever get to that point. But the big point that I want to make about him to give him credit is like he brings eyeballs to the sport. Yeah, it's a bunch of two amateur fighters or whatever you want to call them, but that intensity, hype, the atmosphere, everything you got on a Sunday afternoon to get people to care. That's why boxing is a sport that's always going to be around. I feel like, but it's going to be very limited because you don't know how to build your stars. Jake Paul knows how to sell a fight. He knows how to build his brand. So for a learning lesson for boxing as a sport, promoters, the sanctioning people like WBC or whatever, agents, TV, whatever the heck it is, you got to promote your stars. And also, two fighters, learn how to sell yourself and be better. And like, yeah, but social media nowadays, you got to know how to be in front of the microphone.
Why did Canelo learn how to curse and speak in English and speak
It,
better in English when it comes to
definitely,
that stuff?
definitely raise his profile. Maybe somebody got in his ear like, "Hey, this whole just being Mexican is not gonna work anymore." So you got to talk and be personable. And so. Just if you're a boxer, I know you don't want to be too fake either. You got to find a middle ground where you're putting your daily life out there. Just get people's attention, and if you're a good fighter and you got that crowd, it's gonna be an awesome atmosphere like we're gonna see on April 22nd between Tank and Ryan Garcia.
That's why I feel like sometimes they should take a page out of WWE superstars. WWE superstars, no, Gilbert, when we were there at WrestleMania, I think that was one of your first times interacting with WWE superstars.
Yeah.
And like you saw how they changed their like they'd be like, oh yeah, and they get all fired up and they start talking crap or they start doing this or that. It's like, dude, you sometimes have to do that to improve your character. I mean, look at Conor McGregor. Conor was throwing water bottles, doing all kinds of stuff. Obviously, the bus incident, all that other stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what he would say, what he would do to get everybody riled up. You kind of have to do that, especially because, like, who was the best at it? Floyd Mayweather was always, no matter if he was fighting, like, even when he fought Canelo, a 21-year-old or 22-year-old Canelo, who didn't speak almost any English, he hyped that fight up and had everybody believing, okay,
Yep.
here we go. It's young kid versus the old dog. So obviously you have to learn how to sell a fight. And I feel like this new generation of boxers don't know how to do that. Haney, Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia will sell the crap out. Like, watch in the next month and a half as these episodes come out and all this stuff comes out heading into that fight. I feel like there's going to be a lot of fireworks heading into that one, especially because both guys like to talk. We had Ryan Garcia, and he loves to talk crap, and he goes along with what we said. So definitely, I expect a lot of fireworks coming soon. But I agree with you. Boxing needs to learn how to sell better, especially with their superstars.
Yeah, no, last thing for me, like that's two good examples of two ways of doing it. Like Ryan Garcia knew how to build his brand, obviously, being the pretty boy kind of guy and being on social media, saying some wild stuff, and then just being personable on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, that helped his brand. Tank Davis is not as going in terms of being on the microphone, but guess what? Who was a mouthpiece? Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather said, "This is the next guy here," hyped him up because he knows the playbook. And then when it came time to shine, he did his let the fist do the talking there, and then now that he's not with Mayweather anymore, he's not needed anymore because he built that whole resume because he was a Paul Heyman to him. So there's different ways to do it. Just figure it out, and that's a learning lesson from this Jake Paul experience. And shout out to Jake Paul for putting the effort and putting the eyeballs on the sport. But now we know where you stand, and it was an intriguing ride for the last few years.